This is Carl Wacker, Hardware Support Consultant. This is a brief video on how to replace the balancer tubing on an E170 or an E601. Same procedure for both. In preparation for this, you need to remove the top covers from the instrument, the one in the rear, and all the stuff around the front, around the sipper assemblies, and the long front cover that goes from the left to the right. Also, you need to remove the rear panel where the two fans are located. Okay, once you've got all that done, first step is going to be to remove the sipper tubing from the sipper arm, loosen the screw, slide the flat spring-like piece of metal to the side, and pull up on the sipper tubing and it should come out. On the sides of the sipper assembly, as that sipper tubing comes down with the spring, that's the tubing holder, and that is held in place by one screw, and that holder has a little fork in it, so you loosen the screw, slide the holder to the side, and it will come out of the fork, and you can lay that holder and the sipper tubing up on the detection unit. Here's a picture of it after it's been removed. I'll call out the two screws down at the bottom, and you can see the fork right there. Real easy to remove that. That will allow you to slide the detection units forward. To do that, you remove these two screws from the side, and this drawer assembly with the detection units and the sipper syringe will slide to the front. Once you've done that, this gains you access. This is from the right side, looking into the hole that's opened up by sliding that assembly forward. You can see this tubing bundle in there, and inside of that is your two tubes that run back to the balancer. That's held in place by this clamp at the top of the assembly here. That tubing runs around and back to the back again through this loom. We're going to remove the loom from the tubing so we can gain access to the tubing. Don't throw this loom away, and make sure you pay attention to the way it was routed, because you have to put it back when you're done. This is the most time-consuming part of the whole thing, is taking this loom off and putting it back on. The next part of this will be to remove the syringe assembly from the drawer assembly that you just slid out. Make sure and remove the two sipper tubes from the top of the acrylic block. You can see one hanging there, because once you slide the syringe assembly out, you won't have any slack on those tubings. You'll pinch them or kink them. This gains you access to these two tubes. You can see they're a dark amber color. As they go through that tubing loom, they'll actually be black and very, very brittle. The most important thing to remember here is to replace these two plastic fittings that screw into the acrylic block that this tubing attaches to, because most of the leaks happen right here where that tubing attaches to those fittings. So it's all or nothing. Replace the tubing and the fittings, or don't do any of it. One thing that happens is this solution flows through the tubing constricts and gets a lot smaller, so if you ever have to remove it from the fitting, you'll never be able to push it back on, because it's hard, it's brittle, and it won't go on to the fitting. Okay, on the back where the fans are, this is the DO4 board. It's going to be more obvious in a couple other pictures, but I just wanted to show you where the number or the name of the board is written on it, and also call out in the top right here, you can see this, how the board is mounted, this screw. You loosen the screw, you can lift up on the board and to the rear of the instrument, and you can lay the board down. You'll have to remove a couple connectors, and that's the three connectors in this picture. The one to the left, the large one at the top right, and the one at the bottom right. Remove those connectors, and then you can lay this board down to give you better access to get to where the tubing runs as you're facing the back of the instrument from the left to the right. This is a better picture showing you everything, and as you can see, the board's laying down. This analyzer's really dirty inside, dusty account. Just above the power supplies is this metal plate, and those tubings run along that metal plate from left to right, and then they come out, and you can see the two new pieces of Tygon tubing running out and up. And they go up and they come right through where the balancer is. It's very easy to get your hand up on that right side to run it up to where the balancer is. The hard part is getting to those clamps underneath and above those power supplies. That area is a little difficult. So here's the first clamp on the left. The D04 board was still in place when I took this picture, and that's still the clamp on the left. Here's the clamp on the right. Again, that's with the new tubing in place. You can't really see the clamp on the left, but it's just below the gold screw, and there's the clamp on the right. And then this is the new tubing coming up to where the balancer is. It doesn't matter which port of the balancer's in the very top center of the picture there. Which port you plug the tubing on, it's the same. It just basically drains down that right side of the balancer out to the waste manifold. So that's it. That's how you get your tubing through there. Just remember to replace that loom back on that bundle of tubing so that if you ever have to access your detection units, that tubing will slide in and out properly and it won't get kinked. Double check that as you slide the drawer back into place. Make sure that the tubing is not binding or kinking in any way. If it is, address that. Put all your covers back on, do a system prime, and you should be in good shape. So I hope that helps out. If anybody has any questions, please contact one of the hardware support consultants for Immunoassay. Thanks.